6 bikers, 1 bar, and me, just a guy looking for a quiet beer. By the time the dust settled, the furniture was wrecked, and so were they. Guess they didn't know I don't back down. Stick around, it gets better. Let me tell you something about being a black man in this country. You walk into places and immediately feel like you've wandered into the wrong movie set. My name's Jason Brooks, 26 years old, and that night, I was just a guy trying to enjoy a damn beer in peace. But of course, life had other plans. The bar was called the Devil's Roar. Yeah, I know, sounds like a place where bikers with questionable hygiene and a love for Confederate flags hang out. And guess what? That's exactly what it was. Picture a dimly lit room filled with peeling posters of metal bands, sticky floors that smelled like regret, and a jukebox screeching something that sounded like a cat fight. You could practically taste the testosterone in the air mixed with cheap whiskey and poor life choices. I walked in wearing my leather jacket and jeans, minding my own business. I wasn't looking for trouble. Hell, I wasn't even looking for conversation. All I wanted was a cold beer and a quiet corner to sit in. But the second I stepped in through that door, it felt like every pair of eyes in the room turned toward me. It was like one of those old Western movies where the stranger walks into the saloon and everyone suddenly stops playing cards to glare at him. Except this wasn't a movie, and these guys didn't look like the type to break out into a song and dance number. I made my way to the bar and ordered a beer. The bartender, an older guy with a face like a wrinkled leather boot, gave me a quick once-over. He didn't say anything, but his expression screamed, "You sure you want to be here, kid?" Ignoring the vibes, I took a seat and sipped my drink. The beer was awful, flat and lukewarm, but I wasn't about to complain. Complaining here felt like asking for someone to spit in your drink or worse. About 10 minutes in, I started to relax. Maybe I'd misjudged the place. Sure, the decor screamed "Welcome to the 80s," and the clientele looked like they moonlighted as extras in a Mad Max sequel, but no one had bothered me yet. That was until he showed up. This guy, let's call him Beardzilla, was easily 6'5", built like a refrigerator, and had a beard that could double as a bird's nest. He lumbered over to me with the kind of swagger that said, "I've been king of this shithole since 1995. He leaned on the bar, way too close for comfort, and gave me a look that was equal parts curiosity and disdain. "Hey, buddy," he said, his voice dripping with fake friendliness. "You lost or something?" I glanced up from my beer. "Nope. Pretty sure I'm exactly where I want to be." Beardzilla chuckled, but it wasn't the "haha, that's funny" kind of laugh. It was the "I'm about to ruin your night" kind. His buddies, because of course he had a posse, started gathering around like vultures circling roadkill. There were about 6 of them, all wearing leather jackets with patches that said things like "Hell Riders" and "Born to Raise Hell," real original. Beardzilla leaned in closer, his beer breath assaulting my nostrils. "You know, we don't usually get your kind in here." And there it was, your kind, classic. I took another sip of my beer, trying to keep my cool. "You mean people who pay for their drinks and mind their own business?" One of his friends, a wiry guy with more tattoos than teeth, snorted. "Nah, he means people who should know better than to walk into a bar where they don't belong." The tension in the room was so thick you could have cut it with a knife. I could feel my pulse picking up, but I kept my face blank. The thing about guys like this is they feed off fear. Show them you're scared, and it's game over. "Funny," I said, setting my beer down. "I didn't see a whites only sign on the door." That did it. The laughter from Beardzilla's crew stopped, replaced by a collective growl of indignation. Beardzilla straightened up, towering over me like some kind of biker demigod. "You've got a smart mouth, don't you?" I shrugged. "It's been said." The bartender, who'd been quietly polishing glasses and pretending not to notice the brewing storm, finally spoke up. "Maybe you should leave, son. This ain't the kind of place for disagreements." But I wasn't about to back down. Not because I had something to prove, but because I was sick to death of guys like this thinking they could intimidate whoever they wanted. Still, I wasn't looking for a fight. Not yet, anyway. "Look," I said, standing up and facing Beardzilla. "I don't want any trouble. I just came here for a beer. How about you and your friends go back to whatever it is you do, and we'll all have a nice, quiet night." For a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd let it go. But then Beardzilla smirked and cracked his knuckles. "Oh, we're going to have a nice, quiet night, right after we teach you a little lesson about respect." And just like that, I knew things were about to go downhill fast. Beardzilla's smirk turned into a full-blown sneer, and I swear his buddies were like a pack of hyenas, circling and waiting for the kill. One of them, a greasy little guy with a voice like a dying chainsaw, chimed in. "Yeah, man, you gotta learn when to keep your mouth shut, or maybe we'll shut it for you." I laughed, but not the kind of laugh you'd hear at a comedy show. It was the "I'm about 2 seconds away from losing my patience" kind of laugh. Wow, tough talk from a guy who probably still lives in his mom's basement. That hit a nerve. Chainsaw Voice lunged forward, but Beardzilla held up a hand to stop him. "Relax, boys," he said, his eyes locked on mine. "This one's mine." He grabbed my shirt and yanked me forward. "You think you're funny, huh? Let's see if you're still laughing when I'm done with you." Now, let me tell you, when a guy like Beardzilla pulls that alpha move, there's two ways it can go. One, you back down and he gets to feel like the king of his shitty little castle. Or two, you stand your ground and see how much he really wants to test his luck. I chose option 2. I calmly pried his hand off my shirt. "Dude, you really don't want to do this." Beardzilla's buddies howled with laughter. One of them shouted, "Oh, he's got some balls on him, huh?" At this point, the bartender decided he wanted no part of this mess. He muttered something about not getting paid enough for this shit and disappeared into the back room. Great. Now it was just me, a gang of bikers, and the faint sound of Motley Crue blaring from the jukebox. Beardzilla stepped closer, his fists clenched. "You're real cocky for a guy who's about to get his ass handed to him." I gave him a grin that I knew would piss him off. "Cocky? Nah, I'm just confident. Big difference." And just like that, the switch flipped. Beardzilla threw the first punch, a wild, clumsy swing that probably worked on drunk barflies but wasn't going to cut it with me. I ducked, and his fist sailed right past my head, slamming into the edge of the bar. The sound of bone hitting wood was almost as satisfying as the look of pain that flashed across his face. Before he could recover, one of his buddies decided to jump in, coming at me with a beer bottle raised like it was some kind of medieval weapon. I sidestepped, and the bottle shattered against the bar, spraying glass everywhere. "Really? A bottle? What is this, a bad action movie?" I taunted, landing a quick jab to his gut. He doubled over, gasping like a fish out of water. The room was chaos now. Chairs scraped across the floor as the rest of them closed in, each one thinking he'd be the guy to take me down. Spoiler alert, they were wrong. Beardzilla, clutching his bruised hand, growled, "You're dead, man. You hear me? Dead." I didn't respond. I was too busy ducking a swing from another guy. This one built like a linebacker, but moving like he was stuck in slow motion. I countered with a clean uppercut, and he hit the floor like a sack of potatoes. At this point, the adrenaline had fully kicked in. It wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a statement. These guys thought they could intimidate me, push me around like I didn't belong. But they were learning, the hard way, that I wasn't the kind of guy to roll over and take it. Here's the thing about bar fights. They're messy, chaotic, and never as cool as they look in the movies. But when 6 guys think they can gang up on you and walk away like nothing happened, that's when the real fun begins. Beardzilla, still nursing his bruised ego and jaw, shouted, "Get him!" His crew didn't need much encouragement. They rushed me all at once, throwing punches and swinging whatever they could grab. It was like a low-budget action scene, except they were the extras, and I was the main event. Chainsaw Voice made the first move, lunging at me like he had something to prove. I stepped aside, let him stumble past me, and gave him a solid push into the nearest table. He hit it hard, toppling it and scattering drinks everywhere. Someone in the back yelled, "Hey, watch it!" But Chainsaw didn't respond. He was too busy groaning on the ground. Beardzilla saw his opening and charged. His fists clenched, like he thought he could end this in one swing. I let him get close, too close for his comfort, then ducked under his punch and landed a right hook square on his jaw. He staggered back, his face twisted in a mix of pain and disbelief. "You're gonna regret that," he growled, spitting out a bit of blood. Meanwhile, Ponytail Guy decided to get creative. He grabbed a pool cue and swung it like he was auditioning for a martial arts movie. I caught it mid-swing, yanked it out of his hands, and broke it over my knee. "Seriously?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "A stick? What's next, a plastic fork?" He didn't have time to reply before I drove my shoulder into his chest, sending him sprawling into a wall. He slumped down, winded, and very much out of the fight. That left 3 of them, and they were looking less confident by the second. One of them hesitated, glanced at the door, and muttered, "Man, this guy's nuts." Beardzilla wasn't having it. "Get back in there," he barked, but his crew wasn't so sure anymore. One of them tried a half-hearted punch, which I easily dodged before giving him a quick jab to the ribs. He doubled over, gasping, and dropped to his knees. The other 2 exchanged a look that said, "Nope, not worth it." They started backing away, their hands raised like they were suddenly pacifists. "We're out, man," one of them said. "This is all you now." Beardzilla cursed under his breath, realizing his backup had bailed. But instead of retreating, he roared like a cornered animal and lunged at me one last time. I stood my ground, sidestepped his charge, and used his momentum to slam him face first into the edge of the bar. He crumpled to the floor, groaning, finally out of steam. The bar was a wreck. Tables were overturned. Glass was everywhere. and the jukebox was still playing some old rock song, oblivious to the chaos. I glanced around, dusted off my hands, and turned to the bartender, who was peeking out from behind the counter like he'd just survived a natural disaster. He blinked at me, speechless. You okay?" he finally managed. I smirked. "Better than them," I said, jerking a thumb at the pile of groaning bikers. The bartender shook his head, muttering something about another Tuesday night, and went to grab a broom. I tossed a few bills on the counter. "For the damages," I said, "and for the beer I didn't finish." As I walked out, the cool night air hit my face, and I took a deep breath. Behind me, the bar was silent except for the occasional groan of Beardzilla and his crew. They'd remember this night for a long time, and so would I. Stepping out of the Devil's Roar felt like walking out of a storm. The cool night air hit me, washing away the heat and chaos from inside. My fists ached, my knuckles were red, and my heart was still pounding like a bass drum. But you know what? I felt good. Damn good. Behind me, the bar was eerily quiet except for the muffled groans of Beardzilla and his crew. I glanced back through the cracked window to see them sprawled across the floor and overturned furniture like a scene out of a bad crime drama. It was almost poetic. As I walked toward my car, I heard the sound of the door creaking open. Turning slightly, I saw the bartender standing in the doorway, broom in hand, shaking his head like he couldn't decide whether to thank me or curse me. "You're one crazy son of a gun, you know that?" he called out. I shrugged, a faint smirk tugging at my lips. "Hey, they started it. I just finished it." He chuckled dryly, then waved me off. "Next time, maybe don't finish it in my damn bar." "Fair enough," I said, raising a hand in mock salute. Sliding into my car, I leaned back for a moment, letting the adrenaline drain away. My reflection in the rearview mirror caught my eye. My lip was split and there was a fresh bruise forming on my cheekbone. Nothing too serious, just a few souvenirs to remind me of the night. As I started the engine, a thought hit me. This wasn't just about a fight in a bar. It was bigger than that. Guys like Beardzilla thought they owned the world, that they could walk all over anyone who didn't fit their idea of belonging. Well, tonight they learned the hard way that some people push back. The engine roared to life and I drove off, leaving the wreckage, and a lesson they wouldn't soon forget, behind me. I wasn't looking for trouble, but if trouble wanted to find me again, I'd be ready. Always.